Hi there, I'm Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia, and first of all I want to start by expressing my regret that I can't be there with you today. I had really hoped to come, but wasn't able to work it out in my schedule. But they've asked me to say a few words to kick this off, and also to let you know that I'm going to be there at the university for a lecture this fall, so I hope that everybody will be able to come out and attend that, and I'll talk about a lot of the same issues that you'll be talking about today. They've asked me to say a few words about open access, why I think it's important, my general take on it, but also some thoughts about the way forward. So first of all, just to talk a little bit about open access and what I think it really means to me, what it means, I think, to the world. We live in an era when the amount of intellectual production is perhaps at its highest level in history. We have an enormous number of people who are trained researchers who are pushing forward the boundaries of knowledge in so many different areas across science, humanities, and so forth. But unfortunately, even though we live in this era of incredible network connectivity, we have an outmoded publishing model that doesn't really allow for all the kinds of things that we would love to see and that we really need to see in order to push that research agenda forward. So one of my favorite examples, somebody showed me this webpage a few years back. It was a paper called On the Problems of Access to Knowledge in Sub-Saharan Africa, or something quite like that. So you say, oh, this is an academic paper about the problems of access to knowledge, and you scroll down the page, and in order to read the paper, you had to pay $25, which was a little bit funny and a little bit sad, actually, to think about that the very people who might most be interested in that topic, might best be positioned to begin to solve some of those problems would be academics in African universities, where the budgets wouldn't even begin to cover purchasing an article like that. So there's many different aspects of this. We're in this amazing era of network connectivity where scholars can meet with each other all around the world, can work together collaboratively, both from wealthy universities, from very poor universities, from different languages, different parts of the world. And open access really allows for that to happen in really amazing new ways. When we look at what are the major problems facing the planet, they're all global. They're really things that require that we bring out the best intelligence to bear on every problem in every part of the world. And so it's crucially important in a way that it never really necessarily was before. A lot of the models that worked in the past are no longer working for us. And so, for me, it's just of fundamental importance. And so, what next? I guess that's the question. How do I see the landscape today? And in particular, what are the steps forward in the future? Well, first of all, one of the things that we see today is an incredible level of support and acceptance from the general public. That is when they even hear about the issue. Obviously, the question of the copyright status of academic research isn't exactly on the tip of the tongue of the general public. But if you go out and you talk to people and you say, look at all this research that's out there, shouldn't it be open? Isn't it consistent with the very idea of an Enlightenment approach to science, that this should be available to everyone in a very accessible way? And they'll say, yeah, that sounds really great. And then you say, well, in particular, if it's taxpayer-funded research, doesn't it seem bizarre that your tax money, you paid for it, you already paid your taxes, you paid for the research, shouldn't you be able to read the research without having to pay again to read the results? And people really, really are enthusiastic about that idea. They say, oh, wow, that's really true. If we paid for the research, we definitely should be able to access it ourselves and to allow other people to access it. So the general public really gets behind this idea. Politicians are beginning to get behind the idea. And importantly, we're seeing a world in which we have successful models now. One of the things that people would say 5 years ago, they say, oh yeah, that sounds really great, it's very idealistic, it sounds wonderful, but is it really possible? Well, I personally come from the world of Wikipedia, which people also said, well, that sounds really idealistic and wonderful, but is it really possible? And we proved it is possible. And today we see many successful open access journals. We see new models emerging for funding, and there's still a lot of things to be figured out in that area. It's not a completely solved problem. But we've really moved things forward a lot. So now we have a situation where the public generally supports it, politicians are generally getting on board, academics, of course, very strongly support it, and we have successful models. We can see how to do it. So now I think we're at the stage where it's time to push forward. Both politically to make sure that both government funders but also private funders understand and value the importance of this. And it's time to push forward in terms of, I believe, increasing levels of academic boycotts of traditional journals who do not allow for open access policies. Now, there's a lot of nuance around that, exactly how should they do it and so forth. I think all of you are probably far more qualified than I am to really work out all the details of that. But what I want to put on the table is just it absolutely needs to be done. This is absolutely the way forward. In the future, I think we'll look back on this narrow little slice of time when suddenly we had access to this incredible digital network, and yet we were still siloing things in an old-fashioned way, and we're going to look pretty silly. But I think a lot of the people who are pushing forward open access will be viewed as incredible visionaries to see the possibilities to come. So, I encourage you to run with that, to think about all of these issues, to enjoy your day, and hopefully I'll see a lot of you this fall. Bye-bye.